We so respect your time. So hi, I'm Rebecca Beltran. For those of you that don't know me, it's an honor and a privilege to spend this time with you on Thursday evening. Our Mindset Matters is very special, and we want to thank you guys for not only being with us and sharing this moment with us, but we want you to thank yourselves. And we're very grateful for you honoring yourself. And our You Matter initiative is all about that. It's about telling yourself that you matter. So today we're answering a lot of these questions. I think you guys all found it impossible to make time for yourself, but we're still here. And you have the burnout syndrome that we're going to discuss today. And we are lucky that enough to have my friend, mentor, family therapist, and entrepreneur who is also an administrator of her home health agency. She wears many, many hats, the most important one being a mother. Here with us to share a little bit about what is You Matter and how it can change your life.
All right. So thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. I'm actually super excited to be here and honored to share in this moment with you guys. It almost feels surreal for me. So what's You Matter, right? What is this that we've been talking about, that we've been sharing with everyone? So You Matter is literally an initiative that came from the mindset that we need to learn to live in the middle of our lives, that we need to find joy in the in-between of things. But the reason why You Matter came to life is because we started this brand that is called Why Wait Till Friday, which is the clothing that we're wearing. And you'll see that they counter-relate pretty much. They kind of go hand in hand. You Matter, what it means is it's a brand that is about the mindset, about living in the middle, about finding the joy in the in-between, not waiting for the outcomes, not waiting for the grandiose moments. When we brought that brand to life, it was supposed to be a merchandising brand. Fast forward to where we are today, when we realized, because we're all in this healthcare and educational spaces, we realized the value and the need that there was within the community of healthcare and of education to bring this mentality and this mindset and this idea of being able to find joy in the middle to these spaces. And that's how the You Matter initiative came to life. You Matter is about honoring yourselves, honoring the humans that touch the lives of the people that we serve in whatever aspect, whether, like I said, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's families, whether it's the human. The idea is that every human hand, heart, and mind matters. And we always keep the Why Wait Till Friday mentality at the forefront. So here we are sharing with you something that we're so excited about, which is this initiative that we've now brought to life and into all of these spaces. So thank you.
Awesome. Jessica, can you tell me a little bit about this burnout that we all experience, what it is and how we can overcome burnout, how it makes us better mothers, better entrepreneurs, and better at everything?
So I think that in this world and in this society that we live in, there's a lot of this like immediate gratification and getting things done. But a lot of that is giving. A lot of that is us making sure that we're meeting the needs of whether it's work-related professional expectations, whether it's our roles at home, in our lives. There's this philosophy or this idea, like this superhero mentality. Like I need to give at 100% all the time in order to be considered successful. Right. And we forget the value and the importance that there is in feeding ourselves, in making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. So here with the Why Wait Till Friday mentality, the idea is that we're going to do this in a very simplistic, intentional, and consistent way. Everybody's joy is different, but everybody does have joy. But the problem is that we don't feed that joy. We don't even realize that it's there. And it can be the most simplistic thing. It can be the fact that you drink coffee in the morning and that fulfills you and that gives you joy. But a lot of times you're drinking the coffee, you're answering the phone, you're making sure the email's sent, you're making sure that the child got to school, you're making sure that everybody's clean and ready to go. And didn't realize intentionally that maybe 5 minutes that you take, you can even put a timer to drink the coffee, is something that you're doing to contribute to that internal joy. It's doing it intentionally with recognition, not just letting it happen, right? Because we do this all day long, right? There are middle moments throughout our day all the time. We just don't realize that they're happening. We just don't recognize them. So our joy just sits there. It's not fed, and everything we're doing is outward. Everything is to give. So of course, if we look at it from a perspective of we give, there's this idea like, okay, all of the people in my lives needs are met. My work, all the checklists that we have are all checked off, but there's nowhere there that includes yourself. But yet in all my years as a clinician, everybody wanted to find joy. Everybody wanted to be happier. But when you ask somebody, what is the last thing you do? What is the last thing you did that feeds that happiness? Nobody even knows what feeds their happiness. Don't realize it. You don't give it the time intentionally that it deserves. So the whole idea of bringing You Matter to life with the Why Wait Till Friday mentality is so that in these spaces, in the healthcare world, in the pediatric arena, in anyone that comes across our organizations, because as you know, this is You Matter is it's almost like a circle where there's three companies that come together with this idea and this if we can call it like a nucleus, like a circular energy that brings us all together, which is the passion of You Matter. So our service is in healthcare, whether it's home health, whether it's behavioral therapy, whether it's PPEC, but our passion is the mental health. Our passion is that internal energy, which is called You Matter, right? But the idea is that in You Matter, and anyone that is touched by us is going to understand and learn the value and the importance of feeding yourself, of making sure that you're taken care of. Because yes, it's fantastic. You all, I'm sure, do amazing in your lives. But what good is it to be doing and doing and doing, and then sit down, and when you have a minute with the mirror, what you see is empty. Right? There's no fulfillment. And so our goal of this movement, of this initiative, is to make sure that we're feeding your souls, but you're also feeding it and learning to do it little bits. It can be, like I said, so simplistic, not complex. Intentionally make sure you're documenting it, make sure you're noting it, and then doing it consistently every day.
Jessica, one of the things that helped me really understand and implement the mindset was when you explained the difference between just emotions, everyday emotions, and joy. And I know for you, it's second nature, but for all of us that we have happy moments and sad moments and moments of frustration. And what does joy mean to us?
Okay, I love it. That's actually, that's so fundamental to what we are, right? I think that's a good point. So if you have a pen and you want to write, or you have your notes on your phone, this might be a good time to take some notes. So if we can think of it like this, right? So feelings are emotions in motion. Okay, everybody has feelings, but feelings are not permanent. They travel. They start somewhere within us and they travel. If you give a feeling 7 minutes, you can test this. You can put on a timer. Okay, if you give a feeling 7 minutes, it's going to move. That peak emotion, that high level emotion is going to reduce itself, whether it's happiness, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger, it doesn't matter, whether it's frustration. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with children, with their level of emotion. Those things travel. But joy is a fundamental characteristic that lies very deep within your core that you own. Nobody, it's not based on the external circumstances within your life. It's something that you have, that you can hold on to. And that's the goal here, is that everybody can recognize that joy is existent within you, and it's deep within, right? I always say it's like the concrete underneath your gut, like really deep within, that if you feed a little bit every day, it's the fundamental emotion, but it's not really an emotion. It's a fundamental characteristic that you will hold on to regardless of what's happening within your life. So the goal and the idea here at You Matter is that all of the people that we touch, all of the people that we service, have a little bit of this mindset in their lives. Because I find that if you feed your joy daily, a little bit, right? And if you at least recognize its existence, then anything that you do better, right? Because then it's not so much like a resentment. Because if you don't care for yourself and you leave yourself for last all the time, then there's a level of resentment in your daily activity. It's almost like, yeah, I did this and I did this and I went off my checklist and everything got done, but you're almost like, damn, but I feel empty. I don't feel right, right? And so we want parents, we want people, we want educators, we want therapists. We want the people in our community, in our circle, right? And if you look at our logo, You Matter has the O is where Why Wait Till Friday lies. And that's intentional. That's on purpose because we consider our family a circle. So anyone that is within our circle, we want them to recognize and understand this mindset and feed it a little bit and know that we're honoring them, that we are wanting to help people recognize and acknowledge their joy, be in a if we can call it in a good place with themselves, regardless of what's happening from within. Because the reality is that in our lives, we do not have control of the external.
Right.
A lot of things happen around us that we cannot control, no matter what, especially in the service professions, right? Or even as the adult caretaker of a child who has maybe special needs, or even any children or multiple children within a home. We as caretakers, we don't realize how that is a constant give. That is a constant. And if we don't take a minute to recognize and understand that we need to also feed ourselves, we will burn out. And our bodies will tell us that. Our bodies are going to let us know that we've reached a place of burnout, and we ignore it. So we want to create a community where it's safe to say, I'm going through this, and help us to help you find that joy. Help us to help you say, hey, don't forget that deep down within there's a joy, and we're going to feed it today a little bit, regardless of what's happening within your life, because then you'll be able to execute better. Right? For us, anyone that works with us, we want them to know that we want them to be well, because the more well that they are, the better they will be with those that we serve.
So this aha moment came because we're talking about the pediatric partners, this collaborative of You Matter, and we're talking about pediatric home health and everything Adventist does, what they do at Petty Kids of Florida, taking care of special needs, medically fragile children, the same thing with Paradigm Behavioral Health. It's not always going to be the kindergarten graduation, the college graduation, the marriage. Things are going to look different based on our population. And we said, this is so important. So it's important for everybody. It's important for all of us as humans, but the consistency that you always talk about, Jessica, I want you to give us some examples of what it looks like to be simplistic, intentional, and consistent on a daily.
So I think that everybody needs to find the things within their lives that you think feeds you joy. I'll give you an example, right? So taking a walk outdoors is something that feeds my joy tremendously, okay? It's something that no matter what the circumstances that are going on within my life, I make sure that I do daily. But I keep it simple. Some days it means 5 minutes. But when I do it, I make note of it. I make sure that I'm recognizing and understanding. I might take a picture of something that I saw that during those 5 minutes. I may journal about it, but I'm very intentional in that those 5 minutes are to feed my joy. They're goodness-based. So it's simplistic because it's just a walk. It's intentional. I create this intention. So for me to keep myself accountable, I'm an avid believer that we create an intention to the things that bring us joy, because by default, we're givers. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to do this for myself today to honor someone I love, to honor because I'm grateful for my job, to honor someone that maybe is ill, and I want to honor them. I want to honor their resilience. I want to honor their courage. So you create an intention behind these actions, okay? And what that does is it holds you accountable. Now suddenly you're like, oh, I don't really feel like going on a walk, but I know that when I go, it feeds my joy. It keeps you consistent because you're doing it in the name of something. You're creating an intention behind it, and that keeps us consistent. So that's where the idea of keeping it simple, find very simplistic things that feed our joy, doing it with an intention, and remaining consistent. That's a mantra that we want to make sure that we all kind of leave a little bit with today with our call.
Another thing, Jessica, that you've taught me that has really helped so much, and whether you're a parent or this is for yourself or a boss or just anywhere in the workplace, for me, it's helped me as a mother tremendously. If you can talk to us about self-regulation and scaling our emotions or our children's emotions.
Absolutely. So I told you guys that emotions are feelings in motion, right? And so I think that when we're the adult in any relationship, it can be literally any relationship, we have a difficult time understanding or separating the behavior from the emotion. So one of the things that I recommend and I suggest, and this can be used in a classroom setting, this can be used at home, this can be used in a one-on-one, okay, is that we're going to always correct behaviors and validate emotions. But the thing that Rebecca's discussing is when we're correcting behaviors and validating emotions, we're going to train the humans around us and ourselves to scale the emotions that we're validating so that we give people permission, children included, to feel, but we don't want people reacting at a level 10 for circumstances and situations that maybe require a 3. And I'm going to give you just a very simple example. I'm actually going to write it so that you guys can visualize it, right? We're going to scale Rebecca's emotions, okay? And Rebecca's going to list 5. We're going to do it quick. We're going to do 5 levels, okay? So Rebecca, think of the worst case scenario of something that would require the highest level of emotion for you.
So losing a child.
Okay. Then I want you to think of the next worst thing, but a little less in value.
Losing my income.
Okay. Okay, 3.
We're going. Wow, this is a little challenging. A separation in the family.
Okay. 2.
Not getting tasks done in my day.
Perfect. And 1.
Spilling coffee on myself. There's a big gap in all these, okay?
Absolutely. And we did 5. Usually, by the way, we do 10.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want to share this with you guys because I hope, I don't know if you could see it, but it kind of explains, right? It's a really simplistic activity that you could do with a child, that you could do for yourself, that you could do between 2 adults. But what it does is this is how you scale the validity of the behaviors and the reactions to our emotions. What happens? I know that Rebecca spilling coffee requires a 1. But if right now Rebecca was to spill coffee at her desk, most likely she'll react at a 5. And so I will remind her, and we can remind ourselves like, wait a minute, is this really, really worth the level 5 reaction that I'm giving this, where it's ruined my day, where I'm super frustrated, where maybe I'm loud, where, in other words, I'm overreacted to this. So instead of saying there's no need to cry, it's just coffee, what we do is we give people permission to feel like, okay, I'm so sorry that the coffee spilled. It's okay for you to feel, but can we keep it at a 1? So now people are beginning to learn from a very young age how to regulate their emotions and recognize the behaviors that are permissible within this criteria. So you have like a scale that even the child themselves, children can do this for themselves. And when they're having a tantrum, you can literally say to them, you're reacting at a 10 for a situation that you've identified more or less like a 3. And that way there's a logical component that stems. And all of a sudden it's almost like, oh, wait a minute, I can feel, but I should probably keep it at a 3. So we're still giving the person control. You're still controlling the situation, but under my regulation. So I'm allowing you to feel, I'm allowing you to be reactive, but we're going to keep it under a 3. So what it does is it's teaching people to have self-control, to self-regulate, but to permit emotions. I don't think there's anything effective when we try to correct and discipline emotions. Emotions are inevitable. Everybody feels them. Okay. One of the interesting activities that we can do is mirror talk. So if you ever have a child who's really not regulating, who's having a difficult time, even as an adult, if you sit them in front of a mirror, like I feel every classroom should have a mirror, but maybe there's a safety hazard there. I don't know. Maybe it can be like behind something or plastic, but if you put anyone that's irregulated in their emotions, let's call it a tantrum, okay, in front of a mirror, there is a sudden de-escalation of emotion because there is no audience. you become your own audience. And when you're faced with yourself, this is with anything in your life. If you're feeling utterly sad when you wake up in the morning and you sit with yourself in the mirror and you give yourself 10 minutes of just with yourself, you will see how slowly the level of sadness becomes logical. It doesn't mean sadness goes away, but it's less paralyzing when you face it. There's less of a level of paralyzation and there's more action-based emotion, right? So you spill the coffee, you learn to pick it up and move on because you only have like 5 minutes of emotions because you've kind of labeled that at a 1. So these are tricks and ideas of what we do, right? It's like if you give your child and you tell your child, I don't want to do my homework. I don't want homework. Homework's so overwhelming. And you're like, it's because it's bedtime, right? We all feel these things. The idea is the goal is that you could tell your child, okay, look, I'm so sorry that you don't want to do your homework, and I get it. But I'm going to give you 10 minutes to have a tantrum. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to sit with this anger and this frustration. And then I'm going to put a timer. And for 10 minutes, you're going to do homework. And then I'm going to give you 5 minutes to feel again. And then you're going to spend 15 minutes doing homework. And then I'm going to give you a last 2 minutes. I guarantee you by the last 2 minutes, they don't need the feelings anymore. They don't need the time because they've already felt. So when you give somebody permission to feel, they feel less. A lot of the escalated emotions that's connected to poor behavior, etc., is almost like the inability to feel like they can feel causes a higher level. It's almost like being on a diet and then you want all the chocolate that exists on the counter. If I can't feel, I'm going to overfeel. But if I'm permitted to feel, I can heal. Because there's space to feel, there's space to heal, and there's still an expectation of activity. There isn't a paralyzation. Emotions shouldn't be connected to paralyzation. They should be permissible, acceptable, embraced, and then we proceed. There should be an onward piece. And this is effective for any environment and any arena, right? And we here at You Matter advocate for these things and teach our therapists and teach those that work directly with our organization to value these activities, to value these things. And without knowing, we're keeping mental health at the forefront, but in a simplistic formula. We're not getting deep into diagnosis. We're not getting deep into trying to figure it all out. We're really just getting into the functionality of the daily with some joy. We want to make sure that there's joy at the core and that all of these things help feed that, right? Because there's less trauma on the day when we're aware.
And Jessica, before we take questions, we definitely want to take questions and we respect your time. As we told you, we wouldn't go over 30 minutes on our side of the presentation. Can you give us a couple of examples of how You Matter, we've talked about adults, we've talked about kids, how that translates to a corporate space?
Absolutely.
How we can implement these activities in a corporate world. So we're taking care of ourselves and our family now. And how did we bring this over to the corporate side?
Right. So we try to, the way that we have it planned and done is like almost like professional development. It's basically where we want to do workshops. We want to do conversations with the people within the organizations where we're having mental health at the forefront, because we want the employees of any organization that is a part of You Matter to feel heard, to feel honored, to understand their value, right? The person who feels valued performs better. So for us, the valuing of the human at the forefront of any organization takes precedence. But we talk about this all the time. We talk about, oh yeah, I value, but how does that person know that they're valued? You Matter is the initiative that creates the action to make sure that those within an organization feel that sense of value, feel that sense of whether we can do staff meetings, right? So like in my own organization, every staff meeting has a small piece of You Matter. Again, keeping it simplistic, staying consistent, and being intentional in what we do.
Right. So at Advantis, at Petty Kids, at Paradigm, what we've done is we've created You Matter Scholars. So there's a program that we've developed together where it is professional development, where we are constantly reminding them that they matter. And we're constantly reintroducing this mindset for them as people, humans at the very core, and as therapists or teachers or whatever it is that you do in your daily life. So it's important to keep it real and keep it at every single level.
And to have the conversations, right? We want You Matter to be the safe space where we could talk these things through, where we're creating these partnerships within the community so that in any space that we're present, there is a level of comfort to discuss, like, you know what, today sucked. Today was hard. And how we can find the little piece of the day that was that middle moment and we can incorporate it to the crappy day. But we have this recognition because we have this mindset and this mentality, but at the same time, honoring the fact that people can say, it was hard. A lot of what we do is challenging. A lot of what we do brings difficulties to our lives. And so if we don't acknowledge and feed that joy, then it can get really heavy and really dark really fast. My goal, big, very, very large in Why Wait Till Friday and in coming up with this vision, and I guess I can be called the visionary behind all of this, truly from the most authentic place I share this with you guys, is that I love humans. And that I recognize and understand that the human life is complex and there's nothing easy about navigating it. But I have learned with a lot of simplistic, consistent, and intentional lifestyle changes that everyone can find and feed their joy. It just takes commitment. And the same way that we're committed to the external in our lives, we want to encourage you to be committed to the internal. And we're here. We want to do this together, and we want to be present in as many spaces as we can, because like I said at the early onset, we provide a service, which is home health, behavioral therapy, PPEC. So that's the service that funds You Matter, but our passion lies in the human that provides the service at any level. Whether it's the child, we're here to help with the children at the forefront, the parents, the workers, everyone that is involved in the process to us is of value and matters. So we do the parent workshops as well, with the idea and the goal that if we can all get on the same mindset, then we fall within that circle, which is Why Wait Till Friday. We can wear the gear with a lot of passion and know what we represent. Because you all are the owners of your joy. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
So is it fair to say that we're all feeders, that we need to feed, because the transactional, that's automatic. The transactions happen every day, all day, with COVID, without COVID, with a mask behind, that made it even worse. But the human approach has been lost. It's not automatic. It's not putting ourselves first, like at the forefront. It's really something that we need to keep feeding. So we're their feeders. We're there to constantly remind everybody to feed their joy.
Right. And mental health and the well-being of humans, whether it's children or adults, has to have activity behind it. If it's just a thought, if your thought is, oh, mental health matters, but we're not doing anything about it, then the thought remains silent. So the goal of You Matter is to create action behind this mindset, which is the brand, Why Wait Till Friday, and be in as many spaces as we can with activity, with action to promote this in environments so that it creates a culture.
Yes. And we thank you again. We're so proud that you took this time for yourself to feed yourself. And we want to take some questions.
By the way, this would be a middle moment for all of you. Okay. When you get on here and you take the time, whether you're listening, you're watching, whatever way you're doing it, you're honoring yourself. You're taking a minute to participate. This would be a middle moment. You should document it for sure.
Awesome. So do we have
to follow us on?
Oh, yes. Go ahead. You want to tell them?
So the one only thing that I ask is that we're on Instagram. We're actually like in a major elevation and expansion time right now. So if you want to join us, you want to follow it, you want to follow You Matter, you want to follow Why Wait Till Friday, you can follow us on Why Wait Till Friday. That would be amazing. We'd love to see you, get your feedback, and the gear is coming very soon, so everybody can get their gear. Like I said, the Why Wait Till Friday is the brand side, and the You Matter is the initiative in the space.
So we're going to look at the chat now, and this is recorded. So if you wanted to share it with somebody, you could absolutely share it with someone. Vanessa wants to know, I'm sorry, let me start with that. Yes, please. You guys are so awesome. How we get gear for Why Wait Till Friday? How can I get a shirt?
I love it. So there's gonna be all Why Wait Till Friday merch, but there's also You Matter opportunity if you'd like if you do become a part of the You Matter nucleus, that we call it, that energy. I like that. There's going to be gear. So everything is gonna be up on our website. If any of you are like, there's something urgent that you really want something, you can always reach out to us directly, of course, but there will be everything on our website, which should be up, I would give it in the next 10 days.
Yes.
It's been a work in progress.
Anybody else? You guys can ask hard questions. We love hard questions.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll give it a minute to see if there's somebody that wants to ask something. No question is a dumb question. So you're all gonna receive the recording and the link. And they can also email us at
No, but we'll send them that, right?
You Matter, which we're gonna send at whywaittillfriday.com. I thank you again for being part of this. We'll hang out in case anybody does have any questions.
And please reach out to us, right? Like, I hope everybody, you're gonna get our information. We really believe in this. Like we said earlier, like this is our passion. The human at the forefront of life is at least I could speak like it is what moves me and what generates my desire to just keep going and keep building. So please, we love your feedback. We would love to hear how you feel about what we're saying. If you have ideas within your organizations, within your homes, within the people that we're three girls from Miami just making a difference. We have these established businesses and we've just elevated them, bringing this this mentality to the forefront, right?
So great question. We are going to do this in Spanish. So right now you guys are part of a groundbreaking moment because this is our absolute first Mindset Matters with this audience. And yes, we're going to do it. We will send out to everybody that's on here. Because she said, how can we set up a workshop at our school for
Absolutely.
parents?
We've done it in Spanish.
We're going to do it in
many times
Spanish
already. So
yes.
yes.
I think it's Francela. Francela, if you want us to go to your school, we can absolutely do that. We will email you now on the side. So Francela,
Okay.
any suggestions?
I love this question. I love it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Any suggestions for how someone can identify what brings them joy if it's been a minute? Great question.
So number one, thank you for your authenticity. That's an amazing question. That's great. What brings us joy? So to keep it simple, you want to find something that is accessible and that you can do on the daily, right? It could be something as simple as I said, drinking coffee. It could be something like writing an emotion down, walking a store, a conversation with someone that you love, quiet time in a car. They're very, very simplistic things. What I think, and the value of this question for me is your joy gets dormant when it's been a while, but it doesn't go away. It's there. You'll start to learn more of what brings it when it's alive. So you just have to start by zero. Start finding something, explore that you suddenly feel like, damn, it was an exhausting, hard day, but this minute felt right. And when you can find that, then it's there. And now every day, a little bit, you go feeding it, and then suddenly it's recognizable. And now you know it's there at your core. And even in the hardest days, you still can touch it and you know that it's there, right? So it doesn't matter what's happening in our lives because life gets so challenging. Trust me, you'll learn our stories as you continue to follow us, right? But we all have had the hardest days, the hardest times in our lives, the most difficult chapters. But if we fundamentally have fed our joy, it will always hold us through. It'll get us by the hard. But if we don't feed it, as you said, we forget it's there. We forget its existence. Like I said, happiness, joy, anger, those things come and go. And yes, enjoy the good, enjoy the happy moments, be there, be present. But don't forget to bring a little bit of that on the daily, because 3 times a year is not enough, right? That's where Why Wait Till Friday comes. If we wait till Friday and then Friday comes and Friday left, and we did nothing of the things that bring us joy. And I see some of you smiling and relating because it's reality. How many Fridays are there in a year? So few. But if we don't feed a little bit every day, but yet we expect joy and happiness, we're going to fail. We got to find it. We got to feed it. It's our responsibility to those we love and ourselves.
We have another great question. How do you speak to your teen? This is a great one regarding the emotion versus behavior without sounding like a therapist.
I'm very challenged by that because I always sound like a therapist. But that's actually a great question. So I believe that you start by the scaling, right? So scaling activities, and you can make it really, really simplistic. But when a person starts to understand their level of emotional reaction to things, then the behavior they link with situations and the emotions that they link start to kind of get a little tiny bit more logical. And so teenagers like to be in control. They like to have the power. And this allows them to have the power of their emotional being without necessarily getting out of control. And again, always validating. Let's say that your teenager is frustrated because you're not letting them go somewhere and they're having an absolute meltdown. You're gonna validate, like, I recognize and understand that you're not happy about not going to where I'm not letting you go. And as a parent, it's terrible to say no to you. But it's part of my love for you is that I have to say no. I have to create these boundaries for you. I want you to give yourself 30 minutes to feel. And then I think it's time we heal. So you're giving them permission to feel, you're acknowledging their feelings, but you're sticking to the behavior adjustment.
And when would you introduce the scaling? Which I think is a
I
common
think every child and every human should do the scaling activity. There's no, I'm a big proactive approach human, not reactive. Like, I feel that a lot of times we jump on these things when it's reactive based, and then the emotions are like up to here and we're
Right.
impulsive and not effective. Trust me, that happens to me all the time. So in a more proactive approach, it's like on a really easy day when everybody's just hanging out, we're going to scale emotions. We're going to do an activity together. And this could be at work. This is going to be my activity actually in my next staff meeting. But this is an opportunity for people themselves, and it could be very private. It could be on a piece of paper, but list 1 through 10, the worst thing that can happen in life, lead it up to a number 1. It's still bad, and that is how you yourself create the logic. Like, I guarantee you that Rebecca spills coffee from now on for the rest of her life, and she's going to keep it at a 1 because she's going to remember this activity. And if she doesn't, she's going to scream from it, and then she's going to be like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Does this coffee require this level? Because if we react at a 10 always, then the day that we really react at a 10, we're not going to give ourselves the validation that it deserves.
Right.
There are days where a 10 is appropriate. There are days where that pain is of essence. But if we put that pain and that emotion at level 10 all the time, it loses its validity for ourselves. We don't even recognize it.
Right.
So we shove it. And we learn to shove the hardest of emotions down because we're always at a 10. So we don't know when we're supposed to tune in.
Well, I think for them, since you are a therapist and I'm not, I've told my kids, like, listen, I want to know how well I know you. So we're gonna like play a game. And I want you guys to write 1 through 10. I've already guessed what you're gonna write, and I want to know if I'm right. So it's not like I'm wearing my therapy hat. It's like I'm wearing like my, I want to know curiosity hat. And this is obviously going to be a time where whatever we're having Sunday pizza or we're just hanging out, and I'm going to tell them that, like, you're challenging me. Let's see how well I know you. Do you mind? Like, let's just do.
Yeah, we don't want to scale emotions in the middle of a tantrum. That's going to be ineffective because nobody's logical at that point, right? So it's ideally that you're going to do this on moments that are more interactive. I mean, it's kind of like with your partners. Those of you that are in relationships, like, you wait for the right moment to have specific conversations. Well, this is kind of like the same thing, right? We're going to wait to be at ease, find the most at ease. And I encourage you, within your own families, within your own units, find your middle moments, document them together and note them, right? Like, I did a calendar in my office that's up in my office, and my daughter looked at the calendar and she said, Mommy, these pictures, they're so random. And I said, that's the point. They're middle moments. There's nothing huge about any of these pictures, but every one of these moments mattered in my life.
That's powerful. Very powerful. Does anybody else have questions? I know I go through it with Jody and Michelle. I have 2 boys, teenagers. I'm right there with you. So I understand.
We all, as parents, it can be challenging for sure. For sure.
we can give it a minute. I'm going to continue to affirm you and tell you how awesome it is that you guys have taken this time out to do this for yourself. Because really, it's feeding yourself. This is
Welcome
your
to Make
middle
You
moment.
Matter family.
Yes.
I love it. It's amazing.
Any other questions?
Okay, nobody's talking, so I'm just gonna talk. And I'm
Absolutely.
starting my video. I have no makeup on, I have no nothing, so my profile photo looks way better. Anyway.
I think you look freaking amazing.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So I am gonna say I think this is amazing. I'm friends with Jenny. You know, through the football team and all that kind of stuff. My son played with her son. And I hear all the struggles and I hear all of your events. I hear all of that stuff. And I just like I have promoted, you know, Why Wait Till Friday to everybody that I know. I'm like, oh, follow them. I tag them in almost everything that you do. I'm so glad to hear that you're doing better after your surgery. I did follow that whole journey on your Instagram.
Fine. You make me cry.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No,
So
no, I that's okay. This is a super authentic place, but thank you. I really,
you know,
do
I
appreciate
am
it.
so glad. Like I saw through the whole thing. I saw your, you know, all of your trips and vacations over the holidays and stuff like that. Like I follow you guys all. I know it sounds like I'm totally, you know, what is it, fan struck or whatever you want to call it.
I actually love it.
But I just like I look at it and it's kind of like it's inspiring because you want to be that person. You know, like I watch you ladies and I'm like, I want to be that person. I want to be that mom. I want to be, you know, I'm a single mom. I'm going through a divorce. I have two boys, 13 and 14. So, and Jenny's like, you have to do this. You have to do this for you, you know, take the time out and just do it. So if there's going to be more of these, I definitely, you know,
There will be.
sign me up and put me on the, you know, the email group, whatever it is. But
And
this is
we
awesome.
can talk also because I have two boys that are 13 and 14. So there's a connection there. It's
Let
not,
me tell you, it is not easy.
and I've been through a divorce when they were younger, but it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. It's, you know,
Divorce is divorce, and yeah, exactly. Like this is, you know, this is. I'm not gonna lie. Jenny will tell you. I've been through the struggles. But
Well,
they're
we're very
definitely.
glad that you came on here, and not only that you joined us and you listened, but that you shared. And that's what this is all about, right? We are humans behind the scenes too, right? So Why Wait Till Friday and You Matter and all of our businesses, they're just a product of a human. And we never want to lose that. For us, like we never want to become just this big, you know, this big company that everybody's just kind of looks up to. We want to look at you, not above you ever. Right. And
I
so
love that.
it's a really, really important piece for us. And I mean that in the most authentic way. We are humans and we have struggles, and we're talking about this because we've all struggled. And this mindset and this movement has helped us to be at a place of joy and to find that. And you know, you bring up my surgery and again, it's part of the journey, right? We all have obstacles and we all have struggles, but even in my surgery and even after the surgery, it was a very, very tricky situation. And I'm sure the girls can say, like, I still had joy somewhere. Like
you're gonna make me cry now.
And joined, and people came to see me, and I was up talking and hanging out because I still had that fundamental joy that no matter what was going on, nobody robbed it from me. It quieted. And when I was very sick, it was slowly quieting, but I kept trying so hard to feed it. And then it was there for me when it was over. Right. I didn't ignore it. Even in the hardest days, and even when I felt literally like I was just shutting down, and I shared my journal entry of like 2 days before the surgery, just to give you guys a really quick, I had an intestinal obstruction, a small intestine obstruction. Unfortunately, I almost died, to tell you the truth, and I'm fine and I'm good and everything went well, but I had to have an emergency surgery. And I was struggling for like 6 months, literally slowly shutting down. Like I felt that my body was like a light that was shutting off. And a couple of days before the surgery, not knowing that this was happening to me, I just knew I was ill and I couldn't get the answers. I wrote in my journal, like, I don't know if I can keep fighting. I don't know if I have it in me. Like I'm literally shutting down, and no matter what I do, I'm just not right. I'm just not well. And I couldn't figure it out. But I kept journaling and I kept walking and I kept doing the things that I knew fed my joy. And when the surgery was over and I physically felt better, my joy jumped. So that's what I share with you guys, is that even in the biggest of struggles, even in the darkest of moments in your life, if you can find a second to feed that joy will carry you through the hardest of times, no matter what, because nobody can take it away from you. Your joy has nothing to do with anyone or anything, and everything to do with you. You own it. You are in charge. And that's why our children in our community also need to know that. They need to understand the power that they have over that fundamental value. So thank you. I appreciate your words. I appreciate everything you said. And I appreciate you bringing up my surgery, because I think it's important for everybody to always know that there are humans behind the movement. I saw people like wipe their tears, and I'm like, I want to cry.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so
just a few.
Thank you guys so much. We're so grateful for this.
Let me see what.
I love this.
Yeah, this is great.
We absolutely do this in workplaces. We actually call it mindset mornings. We could do it at any time of the day, but we do come in and we do mindset chats
I love
with
that
the
she-
You Matter
she hits
initiative.
The mommy mafia.
I love this Mommy Mafia, whoever wrote that. That's amazing. I want to be a part of Mommy Mafia. That's amazing. But yes, we definitely want to come in and teach people about their middle moments and create good work environments, where people all are honoring themselves and each other and recognizing the joy in the in-between.
It's literally changed the environment at my work. I think we always had a great environment, and it's just getting better because we put a name on it. So whether you aren't practicing and it is a complete transformation, or if it's just putting a name and making it even better, it's so worth it. You know, the staff at Petty Kids, since You Matter came, it's been a game changer. You told me the same thing about
Over here,
Advantage.
absolutely. So we don't market anymore. There's no marketing. Everything is honoring the humans at the forefront. So that's how we connect with everyone that we do business with. There is no selling of anything. There is connecting. And that's the goal, right? And so,
And it's so awesome.
absolutely, we will come to any organization. Just reach out to us and we can set it up. We do this all the time. This is how we are in the space. Oh my God, who said that about authentic? My greatest struggle since I started this movement, and the girls know it, is that I never want to come across like, oh my God, this girl, like, who is this? And does she really mean it? I struggle with that so much. And I recognize that I have to quiet the voices of others if I want to continue to be passionate in what I do. But I swear I love humans, and I'm so, so passionate about this. And for somebody to say that they can hear the authenticity, that is my middle moment. And I will not forget it.
She says Sebastian wants to say hi. Hi, Sebastian. Where is he? Where's Sebas?
I want to see it maybe there.
Hi, Sebas. It's always so good. I love you. Oh my God, that's amazing. I love her. Thank you, Celeste. Yes,
awesome.
yes.
I remember you. I'm so
Yep.
happy you joined.
Thank you for joining. I know we're reading. Thank you for being part of this moment. Anybody else?
We don't want to like cut anybody off if somebody's like sitting with their thoughts right now.
You're super welcome. It's our honor and pleasure. He's so funny. I'll tickle him tomorrow.
You guys know how to reach us. Please feel free. Everybody will get email with information, and don't forget to follow us, please, so you can join our journey and get more feedback on what we're doing. A lot of exciting things coming down the pipe.
And tomorrow's Friday, but you didn't wait till Friday to honor yourself.
Oh, I wanted to say one last thing before we go. If you see the sign behind us, it says Live Beyond. And so that was like the first ever fundamental language that we used. And it's because I want you all to recognize and understand that we all have limitations, but we got to learn to live beyond them. I never want anyone paralyzed by the limitations that exist. I want us to all learn how to live beyond them. Never, ever forget that, okay? Because as humans, we're made up of limitations of all sorts. They all look different, all of them, but it's so important to live beyond them. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining us, for having your kids say hi, your dogs, your spouses. We love you all. It's
Thank you
awesome.
guys. Have an awesome night. Enjoy your middle moments. Don't forget this was one.
Absolutely.